Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hoodoo Unleashed with the Broken Prophet Papaloo. And this video is the video that I promised you guys I was going to do yesterday or last night before I went out and hung out. And here it is, 8 o'clock. I'm just now getting to it on Sunday. Just had a lot of stuff to do today. But I try to be true to my word and get this video out because I told you guys I would. A video on altars, and I'm going to touch on ancestors. We're going to talk about ancestors also. And I won't let this run over too long. But a lot of you were asking that question, well, how do I construct an altar? How do I get in touch with my ancestors? What is an altar? Things like that. So I'll try to cover that in this video. Okay? And, wait a minute, little hair of the dog. Y'all know I went out last night, so it was rough. But anyway, that's why part of the reason why it took so long to get this video out. And also, let me adjust this thing, because I saw last video, you know, I'm sitting there and like my gut was poking out at the bottom of the video and I hated that shit. Yeah, and a lot of you who follow me know I've been on this weight loss journey, you know, just to get my health right and stuff like that. And so looking at the video and I'm like, man, my gut's out. So let me adjust myself. Oh, zipper's open. Hold on. I ain't selling hot dogs this video. So we're gonna, yeah, my gut was poking out. I hated it. So anyway, let me adjust this shit so I can get started on this video about altars, because you guys kept bringing it up and I thought about it. I'm like, well, is that enough to fill a whole video? And I thought, you know, probably not, because it's really not that difficult, guys. It's not. You know, once you understand what an altar is, the construction isn't as important. I know there's so much information and pseudo information out there about how to build one and what its purpose is and all that stuff, that I can see how it'll be confusing. So that's why I want to do this video for you guys, to make it as practical as possible. Okay? Because there's one thing I want you to understand, that it is a very personal thing. That's why you can't really do a how-to video on building an altar, especially an ancestor altar, because that's the one I think everyone should start out with. Before you go into all these other spirits, honor, you know, the people who love you first, okay? Who may love you. We'll get into that. And it's such a personal thing just because everyone's ancestors are different. And so I know you Google these pictures and you see all these elaborate things with 1,000,000 cups and all this other stuff. You know, understand the basic Hoodoo ancestor altar is a very, very simple and personal thing. And what is an altar anyway? The altar is a place for you to commune with the spiritual world. All right, the ancestors that you have that are passed on. So that's all an altar is. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. It is this visual focal point for you to commune with your ancestors. On mine, besides all the other shit that I'll go into, you know, I've got pictures of my ancestors. You know, the ones that, you know, I either knew in life or, you know, I was a baby, they knew of me. The ones that have contacted me and things like that. Because we're visual creatures. How many times have you like missed your grandmother, missed your grandfather? You know, you grew up with them, you loved them, they loved you. Now they've passed away and you're going through a hard time in life and you're sitting there going, you know, I wish you were here. I wish you could hear me. I wish I could say this. Your ancestor altar is a place where you can say these things and know that they hear you. Okay, so that's what it is. We're visual creatures and we need this visual representation. And we also, you know, just need somewhere to go so we aren't just wandering around aimlessly. And that altar nails that physical point down for you. It nails that place, that portal to the spiritual world down in one spot so you know where it is. All right, so you're not just, are you here, grandmama? I smell your perfume. No, she's right there. You built this place for her. You commune with her daily. That's where she is. That's where you can talk to her and feel confident about that. And like anything, once you feel confident about it, you know, it becomes second nature and you're able to actually do some spiritual things. So with that being said, this is a personal thing. What I tell people about an ancestor altar is this. Start off with ancestors that you are familiar with, okay? That knew you or that you knew and that liked you. All right, because just because you passed over does not mean that automatically you're enlightened and now you're all love and rainbows. No, your crazy Uncle Joe with the glass eye is still your crazy Uncle Joe with the glass eye. And if he was a hellraiser then, he's a hellraiser now. That might not be somebody you want to put on your ancestor altar if you couldn't trust him when he was alive. So start off with, the nice grandmama. Because, they always joke around. Everybody grows up with two grandmamas. A nice one and a mean one. The nice one died too soon. The mean one lives for fucking ever. Okay? So start off with the nice grandmama. That's what I did. And, and a few others. And then your picture album or your collection of pictures on your altar will go from there. That's one of the first things that you will put on there. And that's, I will only recommend a few things. Keep watching. Write this shit down. I will only recommend a few things that you put on your Ancestor Altar. One, pictures. Okay? Put pictures on there. Two, every Ancestor Altar, every spiritual altar, period, will have a glass of water. They'll all have a glass of water. Why? Water is the universal conduit. It is also the universal solvent. We know that in science. If you paid attention in science, water is the medium that allows passage from one side to the next. That's why people get those feelings when they're in, near large bodies of water. We are mostly water. That's why we are both physical and spirit, and it passes back and forth through us. Okay? So you always have water. Water is, a basic offering. If you have nothing else, it's a basic offering. But it also facilitates, the passage from spirit, from their side over to ours, so they can commune with you at your altar. You can also divine, basically, on how often, how active your spirits are by, and if y'all see me distracted, it's because my dog is over on the sofa right now. Not supposed to be up there, but I'm not going to, whoop ass in front of, the millions and millions of my fans. You can tell how active your spirits are by how many bubbles are in the glass of water. It's a glass of water. Now, some people will argue, oh, it's atmospheric pressure. It's this, that, and the other. I know when my folks are active, when I come here and this glass of water looks like Sprite with all the bubbles in there, and I know they're active and there's something I need to be doing. Lay down. Lay down. Something else that is a standard that you will always have on your altar will be candles. Spirits thrive on light. Light draws them to you, and it draws them to a specific place. Light also helps to elevate them, to make them stronger. Okay? So you will always have a candle there. So here are the things I said you will start your altar off with. Pictures, if you have them. I know some of us we don't have this type of knowledge of our ancestry because, maybe we were adopted. Maybe just through life circumstances, house fires, and everything was lost. We don't have these things. Okay? So if that's the case, don't fret. Okay? And don't become discouraged, and don't not build your altar. You just don't have the pictures. Okay? But you will have candles. You will have water. Now, what else do I put on there? Because I know a lot of you are asking that. What else do I put on an ancestor altar? Remember, I said you want to start out with people you knew in life and ones that liked you. Why? Because that connection is already there. These are the ones you miss when their birthday comes around. These are the ones who picked you up when you fell and scraped your knee when you were a little jit. Okay, so that's why you want to start off with them. Because contrary to popular belief, not every ancestor likes you. Let's just throw that out there. I know last year and the year beforehand, everybody talked about ancestors. It's what was hot and sexy on the street, and everybody was throwing out books and stuff like that. Guys, y'all know I shoot from the hip and I tell you the way it is. Not every ancestor you have likes you, okay? Because you have ancestors that walked in every walk of life. They may not agree with your sexual orientation. They may not agree with your job choice. You might be a police officer, and your ancestor that was a bootlegger just ain't gonna cotton too well to that. Okay, you might be a teetotaler, and you've got an ancestor that was a stone cold drunk. People have ancestors that are pedophiles, rapists, murderers, gangsters, thugs, everything. So not everyone will like you. Just like, look, you got family members that are living that you don't talk to and that don't talk to you. Y'all fight at the family reunion. So don't think that every ancestor is going to like you. Start out with the ones you had a positive relationship with. All right? Later on, we'll talk about contacting those other ancestors and elevating them. But for right now, start off with the ones that like like cared about you, and you cared about them. The ones you know will fight for you. All right. And so, what else will go from there? Things that they liked in life that you are aware of. Like with my folks, I think I showed y'all before. It was coffee. It was coffee. Now I know they're active. You know, one of the ways I look, you know, I see the little ring around in there that lets me know that they've been pretty thirsty. And you'll see it. I mean, you'll see things that you put up there that start to disappear faster than normal evaporation could account for. And you know they're active. You know you're there. They're there. Popping of candles, that's there. You know, things like that. These are the basic items that you would put onto an ancestor altar. Now, what's the other part of the equation? All right, you can't just throw some shit up. Otherwise, you know, it's no different from your bookshelf or all the other shit that you decorate with stuff from IKEA and, you know, Pier 1 and all the other shit. All right. What makes it an ancestor altar is the actual communing with the spirits. The actual communing with the spirits. That means that if you want this to be a functioning altar, you need to go to it. And you need to sit there. All those things you wish you would have said to them, this is the place to go say them and actually say them. Remember, I told you guys it's all about actually doing the work. So every day, go there. That's why, because I can be a man of leisure at times, that's why my altar is by the door. So I walk in, I greet them, see if they have a message for me. Sometimes messages are through thoughts, random thoughts. It might be a memory. You can, if you read cards, leave a deck of cards on your altar and just get in the habit of pulling cards and seeing if they have a message for you. Also, this is the last thing I see when I leave the door. So I speak to them because this is a place for your grandmama, great-grandmama, great-great-grandmama, granddaddy, all of them. And if they were sitting right there, there's no way in hell you walk in the door without speaking. Or there's no way in hell if you would leave without speaking. At least if you Southern. Shit, Big Mama whooped that ass if you did. Or what's that Southern folks used to say? If you walk in and don't speak, they say, did we sleep together last night? I don't understand that one, but that's what they said. So if you would not have disrespected them like that in life, you don't do it in death. Get in the habit of that. And slowly you will feel that connection start to build. You will know that when you go there, especially, you know, you darken the room, you sit there, you stare at the candle flames for a bit, and you'll feel them looking back. And a lot of times it's just something gentle, just a gentle gaze back at you from the altar, and they're sitting there like, all right, I'm here. What? You know, sometimes sitting at your altar, you might smell a whiff of perfume, cigar smoke when nobody's smoking. Some people sit at the altar and they feel like a pressure behind the eyes or in the ears. You have to learn what it is for you to signal that spirit is there. And I know a lot of people are like, well, how do I know that it's my ancestor that I'm contacting? Like I tell you guys, a lot of it goes off of personal intuition. Some things you just feel, some things you just know. But you'll know when you're making that connection. It could be through dreams. You know, you're dreaming about your childhood when you spent with them. You start seeing signs out in nature. You know that, you know, your great grandmama always spoke about redbirds. Now they're everywhere. That's a signal to you, things like that. Because it's so important to build that connection, not just have this being someplace in your house that you put a lot of shit up. So sit there and build that connection. And once you have that connection, what do you do with it? Well, that's where it gets fun. And that's where it gets interesting, because a lot of people wonder about breaking hexes and what type of spiritual protection should I put up. I get that question a lot. Y'all ask me that a lot. And I say, you know, your ancestor altar is the strongest spiritual protection you can have. Because let me tell y'all, you got a little glimpse into me. All right. This is my grandmama, great-grandmama, great-great-grandmama. I've never seen a picture of her that wasn't blurred out and a little bit fuzzy like it is there. That woman was strong. they were physically and spiritually strong. All right. Here's my great aunt. Okay. Yeah, you see, she loved to fish. And, I remember fishing with her when I was a little boy. And I loved that woman to death. She would give you the shirt off her back, but she would also cuss you out if you needed it. And if you kept on pushing her, she had a knife and a pistol. I saw both of them. And we know that she was not afraid to use either one of them. Aside from them, I have these are my two great uncles when they were little boys. We were simple folk down here, y'all. Farmers and sharecroppers and stuff like that. These two were twins. They loved me to death. I hate that they passed away, and I miss them daily. And I'm glad I have this place where I can sit and talk to them. But my point being about protection, if you can get past them and get to me, I obviously had it coming. Because these folks will fight tooth and nail for me while they were alive, and I know they're still doing it on the other side. So if you can get past them, I don't care if you are Lucifer himself, I had it coming. Because some of y'all out there are mothers. Some of y'all are fathers. And y'all know, hey, let somebody come at your child wrong, and what's going to happen? Let somebody come at your grandchild wrong and see what's going to happen. The same thing with them. So that's why it's so important to build an ancestor altar and to elevate them and strengthen them, because if they can get past them, like I said, I had it coming. They obviously wanted me to learn from what the fuck just happened to me. All right. Okay, what are some other things I want to share with you guys about an ancestor altar? Like I said, you do want to always keep light. Light strengthens them. You want to give them their coffee. If they, it's important to find out things that they liked in life. If they like to smoke, you'll put some cigarettes there. Every once in a while, puff one and sit it out. If you are in a non-smoking house and you just don't want the smell of cigarette smoke there, which I don't understand, because it's not for you, it's for them. And how serious are you if you just can't puff a cigarette or two? For them, how serious are you? But I'm not here for judgment. You can, take their pictures outside and smoke. Or just if you're not a smoker, pull it into your mouth and blow the smoke on the picture and bring it back and sit it back inside. I will sometimes sit pieces of food, not pieces, but plates of food. I've cooked dinner or whatever, and I feel like I really put my foot in it. That one of them had to have helped me, because normally I bachelor cook. Y'all know what that means. But if I made some collard greens and cornbread and stuff like that, I'm like, one of y'all help me. And so I'll clear out a space and sit it there. All right. Your altar will constantly grow and change. Don't be afraid of that. It's an extension of you. Not only is it for them, but it's also an extension of you. If you're a neat and orderly person, you might have a neat and orderly altar. There's nothing wrong with a cluttered altar, as long as it makes sense to you. Okay, and as long as it appeals to you. That's why I could not do a step-by-step building of one, because it's such a personal thing. And I know, because of the world we live in, if I did a step-by-step building, that's what y'all would have fucking done. And I want you guys to be revolutionaries and visionaries, and not just sheeple blindly following some internet Svengali. That's not who I am. I want to encourage you to find that part of you on the inside, that spark. I want you to blow it till it becomes a flame and ignite it. And let your altar be an extension of you. There's some stuff on there that has nothing to do with my ancestors, but for some reason I liked it and I presented it to them. I read on it and they liked it too. Like this believe here, because that's all I want, and that's all you really need, just to believe. And of course you got James 5:16, when a believing person prays, great things happen. And that's also in essence what happens at your ancestor altar. I've got a lamp there. Like I said, this is my ancestor altar. It also doubles as my working altar. That's why there are candles there that have nothing to do with my ancestors. There's a love candle there for when you guys, petition some love work. That's for someone. There's a reversible candle back there, because, I've got a couple of people in arguments with their loved ones. They want to shut that down. That protection candle is for me. That Mr. Money candle is for me, because just because I'm spiritual does not mean I want to be broke. So I want to keep the money flowing in. I will do readings in front of this altar so that they can help me to pull out the things that you guys need to know. There are rocks and gemstones that, someone I care about is just now hipping me to, so I'm exploring that. Because traditionally in Hoodoo, guys, we only work with 2 stones. We work with black jet stone because it keeps spirit away, and we work with onyx because it keeps negative energy away. Those are 2 separate things. I know everybody wants to say spirits are nothing but energy and vibrations. Bullshit. They're spirits. They're conscious, sentient beings, and there is a difference between a negative spirit and negative energy. That's why we have the 2 different stones. And also down here in the south, that's what we can find in the fucking ground. Everyone wants to equate different rocks to Hoodoo. This is like malachite or some bullshit. We didn't find it down here, but I'm trying to see what they are. We didn't really dig up too many rose quartz eggs, but I'm learning their properties, and my ancestors did not have a problem with it being there. So I sit it there. I sit things on the altar for them, 1, to have a look at, and 2, their energy can help to charge it up, to make it useful for my spiritual practice. That's why I do a lot of my work there, because I'm not just going to run off my own personal spiritual battery. We'll talk about that later. That spiritual battery, we all have one on the inside, some bigger than others. Okay, I'm not just going to run off my battery and be all drained when I'm doing work for you guys. I will also ask them to help, because their energy doesn't have those limitations. All right, but yeah, so I got this, and I don't know. I hear tell some of y'all when ladies out there shoving these damn things up your hoo-has, and I don't understand that shit for the life of me. But anyway, there's a skull here, which is a representation of the dead and those that have passed on. And I put that there. I've got my own little personal money bowl to keep the money flowing in. And there are times, guys, I'll move stuff to the side. This is your place, your altar. You can move stuff to the side to make room for work. It doesn't have to be any set positions, any set orders, things like that. It is very personal. Okay, so with that being said, guys, go and find your altar. Could be a book, a shelf on your bookcase. No, yeah, bookshelf. Just a shelf on your bookshelf, whatever. It can be. Let's see if you guys can see. It can be, the mantle on top of the fireplace. All right, you can put it there. I don't care if it's an end table. It could be freaking, one of those fold-up TV stands where you eat the TV dinner on. Whatever. The main thing, guys, that you get out there and you get started. So, I gave you the few ingredients that I would recommend. The rest, I want you to intuitively feel. Okay? Intuitively feel. Put a picture on there if you've got one. You got to have a glass of water. You got to have the candle color. Does not matter. Be careful with the books telling you, spirits love Florida water, spirits like Kananga water, spirits like rose water. Look, a lot of that comes from specific traditions like, some of the Afro-Cuban traditions and things like that. When you're talking about an ancestor altar, did you ever smell any of that shit on one of your people when they would hug you when you were little? No. My folks hate the smell of Kananga water or rose water. It's too strong. My grandmama loved white diamonds and lemon verbena. So sometimes, at Christmas, I'll put that there at her place, and then I'll go and deliver it, to her grave, because her birthday is Christmas Eve. All right. So think about that. Okay. This is just a physical representation and a gateway, and you want to put things there that they liked in life. Don't put stuff there that something tells you they should want. Put things there that they like in life. That's why I kept my ingredient recommendations so short. All right. All right, guys. Get out there, build these altars. Start building that connection with the spirit. Hit me up in the comment section. Like and share if you want to. And we'll see. Maybe I'll do another comments. I finish up, the comments and questions in the comment section for another video, and we will go from there. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I've got a couple of readings later on tonight, then I'm going to call it a night. If I don't, then I might crank out another one. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Love you. Talk to you later.